My talking does. Maybe my singing would really hurt the microphone. All of me wanna take. No. You know, as I picked it up, I was thinking that some people would get stage fright. I get energized by doing this. Good evening and welcome to the September 12th Roundtable meeting. And we're going to have many people participating by watching the YouTube channel that we've got set up for this. We've been trying to encourage people to come to Roundtable. Not everybody can make it, and we want to get the information out there. So this is one option. You don't get credit for coming to Roundtable if you watch it on the YouTube. But we also put the handouts that we're going to be handing out tonight, they're up on the website already. So if you go to vhcbsa.org and click on program, and under program you click on Roundtable, there's a link to the handouts, and we'll keep you informed. So I'm going to ask Mr. David Potter, our Vice President for Program, to conduct the opening ceremony for us, please.
All right, if we could all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Those in Scout uniform, Scout salute. Those in civilian clothes, hand over your heart. And begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two. All right. And introductions. All right. So I'm David Potter, which we've already established, and you've met Pierre Landry. And then why don't you want to start right over there?
Barbara Hagum, seamstress for the Verdugo Hills Council.
Bill Ginn, Troop 201 here in Burbank.
Bart Burcham, Troop 201, Burbank. Jim Sassenbach, County Commissioner.
Maureen, Unit Commissioner and Roundtable Commissioner.
Richard Briggs, PAC 201 Cubmaster.
Excellent. We also have behind the camera over here, Mr. Pete Simpson, our district associate, and the brains behind this little organization here. Did everybody get a copy of the agenda? And again, it's posted on the website if you're watching YouTube. Let me go through what I chose for the thought of the day, and that is, today is Are You OK Day. In Australia, it's a national day of action and a reminder to trust the signs, trust your gut, and ask, are you okay, any day that it's needed. On the second day of September, Australians are reminded to learn when and how to start a conversation that could change a life. So learn the signs and learn how to ask, and help us move closer to our vision of a world where we're all connected and protected from suicide. Reach out and ask people, are you okay? And with that sobering thought, let's move on to more fun stuff. We talked about we did the introduction. Sorry, I got you out of order there. David, could you hand out this resources page? At Roundtable, we have several different modules. The first one is what we call Big Rocks, information that's important for everybody in scouting. And then we split off into Scout BSA leaders, troop leaders. And then tonight, it looks like we've got mostly Cub Scout leaders here. How many people are with the Cub Scouts? And Maureen's going to be taking you into another room and talking about Lost in Space. Lost in Space, fun. But before we do that, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the resources you may not know. And this list makes it look like they're all on the web, and they're not. These are links to information about some of these resources. I'm going to go through them relatively quickly. This is a take home for you. If you want to not copy all of these resources and just download the PDF that has hot links to this, like I said, it's on the website. One of the resources a lot of people don't know is the VHC, the Verdugo Hills County. Lots of information there, and lots of times people go there just to look at the calendar, but you might want to spend some time going through each one of the links and seeing what information is available. you probably do know about the Echo, which is our monthly newsletter that comes out, but I'm not sure you understand about the mailing list. The mailing lists come out and it's an email blast with information, and we moderate that so you don't get inundated with it. But it's a two-way street. So if you're looking for a Pinewood Derby track that you can borrow, you can send something out on the email blast and we'll moderate it. And if we think it's scout related and appropriate, we'll turn it right around and it'll go out within hours. So make sure that you understand that's a two-way street with the mailing list. We have a Scouts with Disabilities in the council. We are one of the few in the nation that have a Scouts with Disabilities committee. We are seeking, we get sought out by many local councils around us to ask for advice on how to deal with Scouts with Disabilities, how to make the experience for them and their families and their Scout leaders better. So if you have any questions about that, there's hot links there for all kinds of good information. Two hidden gems in the council are our two camps, Camp Verdugo Oaks. Who's been to Camp Verdugo Oaks? You guys must have gone to Honton or Rocket Academy, or which was it? Oh, and resident camp, yes. That's a long time up at camp and hot too. And the pool was working though, yes. So we're continually improving Camp Verdugo Oaks, and Camp Silver Fir is a high adventure base camp up in the Sierra Mountains. Takes about 5 hours to get up there. But once you get up there, it's worth the trip. So if you're planning scout outings for either troops or crews, that's one place you should consider, and those are links that will tell you about those resources. I'll tell you, both of them tend to be underused. Camp Verdugo Oaks, not so much, but Camp Silver Fir is. So if you want a great place to have a wonderful, we've had troops go up there and do a 2-week summer camp that they put on themselves, and it's great facilities. And then the high adventure team. If you're going to be doing anything in the outdoors, we have some basic introductory courses, basic adult leader outdoor orientation, BALOO, for the Cub Scout leaders, and introduction to outdoor leader skills for the Scout leaders. Those are both offered on the weekend of November 16th and 17th this fall. But beyond that basic introductory information, how do you go backpacking in the desert? How do you go whitewater rafting? How do you go snow camping? We have classes that will teach you that. And if you haven't had access to that, you should check that out at that website. And we've got a high adventure, it's high adventure first aid training coming up. It's 8 weeks. It'll be in this room starting towards the end of the month. And actually it's on the list of what's coming up. The 21st. Say again? That's the one Marlene Lug runs. And it gives you basic training for being an emergency medical, emergency medical responder. So it's great training, and we do it in conjunction with the Red Cross. So it's a Scouts and Red Cross, BSA Red Cross connection. So those are Verdugo Hills Council resources that you may not know about. Let me bang through some of the ones for the National Council. Most of you, in fact, probably everyone here, has been through the youth protection training. You had to be registered. But beyond just youth protection, there's a lot of other things about scouting safety that you should be checking out at that website, scouting.org/health and safety. Youth protection is on that list, but also, what do you do if there's a close call? What do you do if, well, there's some safety moments that they recommend that you might want to use. Maybe not so much for your Cub Scout packs, maybe for your Cub Scout pack committees, as you refresh people's memory about what things they should be concerned about when they're planning outings. The guide to advancement for Cub Scout leaders, it's relatively simple. The motto for Cub Scouts is do your best, and the advancement rules are fairly straightforward. Who can sign off in the books and so forth. Once you get up into the Scouts BSA program and the venturing crews, it gets a little bit more rigorous, especially if you're working with Scouts with disabilities and there are some accommodations that be needed. But even if you're just working towards the Eagle Award, for example, there's steps that you have to go through in a particular way. The explanation of those steps and the rationale behind those explanations are in the newly updated Guide to Advancement. It's a great book, and if your Scouts are graduating from Cub Scouts into Boy Scouts, you may want to sit down with an adult beverage and go through that section and figure out where you're going. It's a great guide for you. For all you Cub Scouts leaders, there's this wonderful resource that they put up there in the last couple of years called the Pack Leader Resources. And it's got meeting agendas, it's got ideas for your, what level Cubs are you working with? Tigers. So relatively simple, but next year is, God forbid, it's going to be the Wolves. And but tigers are fun too. And you're working with lions. You've got several different hats on, and your first assignment is to recruit some other people. Yes. Good. So the resources page for Scout leaders, sit down and go through some of that just so that you know it's there when you need it. As you try to develop your program, you're not making it up all by yourself or just using what you used last year. You had some breadth and some variety to your program. For Scout leaders, there's 3 on the list there. One is just the basic troop leader resources. How do you run a troop meeting? How do you give a Scoutmaster minute? There's some recommendations there. And then there's 2 resources that I'm a little frustrated with National because they took the troop leader, the troop program features and the troop program resources. For a long time, they were these 3-volume works. Actually, the features is 3 volumes. The resources is 1 volume. The features are the themes that you're going to be doing each month in the troop meeting. So for example, if you're going to be doing archery for a whole month, there's 4 troop meetings and then a big outing towards the end of the month. What do you do at each one of those meetings? What do you do for the big outing? Lots of ideas in there. And then if you're going to be doing a troop meeting and you've got a game that you want to play, let's not play the same old game. Where can I find some ideas about that? The troop program resources has a whole list of different games that are Scout appropriate and may tie in with the skill that you're teaching. The problem is they were paper for a long time. Then they went to PDF, and now they're paper again. And they are up on the website, but it's not PDF file. You have to use a hot link and an internet connection to get at the information if you want it electronic. Or you can download it as an ebook. Anyway, I'm frustrated because it used to be easy to download this thing and then sit there in your jammies and go through the information at your leisure. Now you need to surf the web. Maybe it's an age thing, right? So troop program resources and troop program features are a tool that many Scoutmasters don't know about and assistant Scoutmasters. At the council level, we have a committee on Scouts with Disability, and at the national level, there's a committee, and there's some resources at that page also. And then here's something that I learned a long time ago, and I'm stunned at how many people haven't learned this, and that is if you go to Google's, I think it works with Bing too, but I use Google all the time. If you put in Google SITE:scouting.org space, and then whatever you're looking for, it uses Google's search engine to search the scouting.org website for what you're looking for. And the reason you do that is the scouting.org search engine is horrible. It doesn't give you what you want. So this may be the most helpful thing that comes out of tonight's meeting is this little tip of using site.scout.org, scouting.org for any website. It doesn't matter if it's scouting.org, and then Google will go find what you want inside of it. Scouting is updating all the time. There are some major changes. For example, there was a big change in the Cub Scout program in 2015. It's before your time, but things will change as it comes along. We had changes last year when the girls came, or February, I guess, when the girl troops started, and the previous year when the girl dens started. So those program updates are all buried down, neatly stored in this obscure little website. And you might want to check that every now and then just to see if you're on top of things. These next 2 are probably going to be very helpful to you also, especially at the Cub Scout level, and that's Be a Scout. There is, when you go to scouting.org and you say, I want to join Cub Scouts or Boy Scouts, you put in your zip code, and it pops up a list of all of the dens and all of the packs in your neighborhood, depending upon the age of the child that you want to get in. And that information is at your control. Somebody in your pack can update that information. So if you've got a new Cub Master coming in, you can update that information and you don't have to worry. Well, you're the one who's in charge of it. And the place that you update that information is that long link there. There's a pin on the map, and this is called pin management. So take a look at that when you get home tonight and see what the information is for your Cub Scout pack and see if it's up to date and whether you need to refresh that. And it's a great recruitment tool as people, I know you put out flyers, I know you do recruitment trials with your Cub Scouts, but if you want to get on the web and have people that are searching around for a Cub Scout pack, it's a great way to do it. This other one, Brian on Scouting, is a blog, and he sends out something every weekday. Sometimes I click on it and say nope, and I just get rid of it. And sometimes I read it and I read some of the links and I read some of the comments. So it depends. I would encourage you, if you want to stay up on what's going on in scouting and be one of the first people to know what's going on, subscribe to Brian on Scouting. It's part of the Scouting Magazine blog, and he's hooked in. He's from national office, so he gets a lot of good information. And like I said, not everything is relevant to me, and I just skip right past it. And then there's two other secrets that I want to share with you. One is the U.S. Scouting Service Project, U3SP.org. This is a group of volunteers who took it upon themselves to make a website that is rich with scouting information. So if you want to know not only what the requirements are for one of the merit badges, but if you want to figure out what the workbooks are and what the updates are and what it was last year, if the Scouts started it last year, you can click on this, and these volunteers are pretty compulsive people. They find the mistakes that the national people don't find. They write letters to national saying, we've noticed this discrepancy. Which is it? National sends back a letter saying, oh, thank you for finding that. This is the way it's supposed to be. And then they post that letter so that when they put the correction up, you know it's official. And national isn't going to get around to changing the requirements for another year, but you know it's up to date. So I would make that one of your bookmarks. And when you're looking for some answer in scouting, that's one of the places I had to go to the first. And then finally, you unit commissioners, but anybody should be subscribing to Ask Andy's newsletter. It's another one of those, it's a volunteer and it's a great source of information that maybe it's got nothing to do with you, and maybe it's that question you've been asking yourself for quite a while. So we had some obscure question about youth protection for venturing youth the other day. Couldn't find it anywhere, and Ask Andy might be a place to go and ask that question. Were there any surprises? I thought about doing this as bingo, and as you came across the ones that you knew, you get to mark it, and then we'd get bingo. Did anybody learn something new tonight? Good, good. That was our goal. Excellent. This is not your only chance to ask questions. Mr. Potter and I get emails all the time, and what I put here, what I started my list with, were the sites that I go to when somebody asks me some obscure question. These are the places I go. So I'm not saying don't send me an email, but what I'm saying is I'm trying to teach you how to fish and not just give you fish. Wonderful. Thank you, folks. Pete has, he has, oh, you want to go through the list here?
There are a few upcoming things that we want to remind everybody of. September 27th, a very, very important night for Verdugo Hills Council. That's the night of our Big Strike auction. It's our big fundraiser for the year, and we want everybody to come join us there. Silent auction, live auction. If you can't make it, you can actually still bid on the silent auction items on your phone or computer at home. And if they go to vhcbsa.org, right, they can sign up. Or bigstrikeauction.com. But again, this is our big fundraiser for the year, so please participate and join in, and it's a lot of fun if you can make it there. We've moved it from a Saturday to a Friday, hoping more people can make it who aren't out camping on Saturday night. So come and join us on that. October 17th, in conjunction with the duck race hosted by Kiwanis, yes. They've offered a large section of the park for us to do a Scoutorama. And we have many units that are going to be there with booths and showing off scouting. If you're interested, we're still looking for more units. And you contact Pete or Amy and they can set you up with all the information. It'll be a really fun day for scouting and for the community. And it gets us out in the area and people see our uniforms and realize, yes, scouting is strong and still here. October 25th to the 27th is one of my favorite events, Haunt On. Please come and join us if you're interested. Make your reservations early because we've been selling out 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. So it's just around the corner to being sold out. Me too. I got dirty and tired. So. Okay, see. That's how we teach that be prepared for the next time, right? And then if you, we have wood badge that starts tomorrow morning. So if you're supposed to be a wood badge, you better get up early and head that way. We have high adventure first aid that we talked about a little bit. That'll start on the 21st, it looks like. Trainer's Edge on the 28th. What is Trainer's Edge? Training?
Trainer's Edge is the first part, well, it's the second part of a three-part Train the Trainer series from the Boy Scouts of America. And we're actually offering the first two parts, Fundamentals of Training in the morning and Trainer's Edge in the afternoon. There's information on the website. If you've got a pack trainer, for example, that person should be there. But leaders are trainers and trainers are leaders. And so if you're a leader, this will give you good training on how to present the information that you're trying to get the people that you're leading to understand. So consider coming to that.
And do you have any updates on popcorn, where we're at, what they should be doing? Popcorn Colonel?
We're in the midst of our popcorn training, although, Mr. Potter, we do actually have a district colonel, Nikki Calderon. She's not here tonight, but she will be here in this room in the council auditorium at 1325 Grandview Avenue on Saturday, because Saturday is the day to pick up your show and sell orders. All of our units that are participating in our show and sell sale have placed an order already. If you are out there and you have it, you're welcome to contact me. I have a little bit of extra popcorn if you want to do show and sell sales and you haven't placed your order. But if you have, Saturday is the day to pick it up. So that's this Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. in this room. I need all of my popcorn kernels to let me know if they're going to make it. And if you can't make it during that time, we need to make other arrangements. So please reach out to me. It's going to be great. Popcorn sale.
And then coming up in November will be our Scouting for Food, and there'll be information coming out about that. It's a great service project. It doesn't matter if you're a Tiger or a Eagle Scout. It's a great service project for the community. So we will have bags available here, and they'll let us know when they come in that you can pick up for your units to distribute in your neighborhoods on one Saturday, and then the following Saturday, you'll go around picking them up. And what a lot of units do is they'll put a little slip of paper in there also that talks about their unit and how to get a hold of a leadership so that you could join their unit. So it's not only great for the food banks, but it's also great for your unit to as a membership drive. So that's a great opportunity, and that's in November. So let's see, did you have anything else? Okay.
I am here today to talk about the unit membership inventory. Some of our leaders here, is anybody familiar with rechartering? Yeah, it happens once a year. What kind of adjectives do you associate with rechartering? I just see a thumbs down. That's not an adjective, but it's very expressive. Huh? Tedium is one of the expressions. Yeah, okay. It's definitely not the most exciting part of scouting, but it's so important because we need to have your roster correct and we need to have all of your members registered in order to make sure that we're running a safe scouting program, that we're running an insured scouting program with all of your members covered by our big umbrella of insurance. So, rechartering does not have to be difficult. I have a secret to make it easier, and it's the membership inventory. Pierre, would you mind passing out these this help to people? So I have a resource here. It's just a little. It's a write up on the unit membership inventory, and I will share it as well by emailing it out to all of our committee chairs, and it will be available in the roundtable resources online. This is a flyer that talks about the process of the unit membership inventory, but I'll go over it really briefly here. The way that it works is that you get a roster for your unit. You can acquire a roster through my.scouting.org, or you can acquire a roster from myself, Amy, or Heidi Davenport here in the council office. Then you take that roster and you contact each of those families on your roster, and you just have a short conversation with them over the phone. You can get some help. Specifically, you should get some help from your commissioner, and you can get some help and just call each of those families and ask them, are you going to be continuing with our pack in the next year? Are all of your children going to be continuing with us? And verify with each one of them that they're going to continue with you. That goes for people who are active and are at every meeting, or people who you haven't seen at a meeting in 3 months. Have a conversation with them on the phone or in person, asking them about their continued membership in your pack. At the same time as you do that, you should also, or you should be recording their responses. So have a big Excel spreadsheet or some other method of tracking it and say, this scout is continuing with our unit, or this scout is not continuing with our unit. And if you do, and so, sometimes there are very real reasons that people don't continue in scouting. Maybe they've moved away and they're in a different council, or maybe they've found a different program that's taking up too much of their time. Although we really try to make sure that scouting is accessible to people no matter what amount of time that they have. And record that reason that they're not staying involved, because that is something that you will be asked about during rechartering. You should then collect the fees, the annual fees from them for your unit. If your unit does annual dues as opposed to weekly or monthly dues, then you should collect those at that time. You should also collect the $33 national membership fee if that's not part of the dues, and the $12 accident and sickness insurance fee, as well as the cost of Boys Life, which is $10. All of that, if you collect it during the unit membership inventory, you won't have to do it while you're trying to get rechartering going, because you have to pay then, right? And if your unit has that money ahead of time, that makes it easier to have the money ready when it's time to pay for rechartering. Finally, if you find any scouts that are active in your unit that are not on your roster, you need to register them immediately. I can't believe I didn't mention it. What time do you think you should be working on your unit membership inventory? Rechartering happens for most units in December, or for home and net men units in February. So what time would a unit want to work on that? It says there's something on the. Oh, now? Yeah, well, September is even a little bit early because you're. Oh, yes. October, exactly. October is the perfect month to start it if you're rechartering in December. It's 2 months before that. The month that you're rechartering, the month before that, and then the month before that. That's when you should be doing your membership inventory. So if you find a youth who is active in your unit in October but is not registered, it's very important that you register them immediately and not wait until you're rechartering in December. Because no, actually, yeah, I hope everybody knows this, but if you don't, if you're registering during the middle of the year as a member of any kind, you only have to pay for the months that are between now and the time that you're registering and the end of your unit's charter. So if you're chartering in December and you're registering in October, all you have to do is pay for October, November, and December, which is, oh my goodness, I'm not a mathematician. 1/4 of $33. You also do not have to pay the $12 accident and sickness insurance fee, but you do have to pay for Boys Life if you want Boys Life, which would be $3. That's $1 per month. And we all want Boys Life because it's a great magazine. So get all those scouts registered. And finally, once you've made sure that you have everybody recorded, whether they're continuing with scouting or not, and you have all the fees collected, add any youth you recruit from October to December to that inventory as you go, collecting their fees at that time as well. And then when you get started in rechartering at the beginning of December, then you already have all the information for the youth. Now, we're going to go over in depth the rechartering process, I believe, next month, right? Either at Roundtable or at a separate meeting. We'll do a recharter. We're going to have a rechartering meeting where we go over the rechartering process in depth, provide you all the materials that you need, including your roster and everything that you could need for rechartering. So make sure that somebody who's doing that comes to that meeting, but you should be preparing to do your membership inventory right now. So contact me if you have any questions. And I'm done talking about that. There are, at this time, those are the fees, those are the annual fees for our council. You should, those are the fees that this council has at this time. If there's any change, we'll let you know as soon as it happens.
And I just want to take a quick moment. Our good friend Craig Harris, who does many things for the council, but he's also leading our Philmont Trek next summer. So I want him to say just a couple words about our Philmont Trek.
Whoa, no, Cub Scouts not go. Cub Scout Leaders, yes. Philmont is the premier backpacking adventure in scouting. Most people think of it as their most exciting scouting adventure, right? We've had some people here that have gone, yeah. It's exciting. You can climb the Tooth of Time. It's backpacking trips between 35 and 105 miles. There's plenty of activities to do in the evening, horseback riding, blacksmithing, all kinds of things to do in the evening. We're going to start forming our Verdugo Hills Council crew. We need 10 to 12 scouts and another leader. If anyone's interested, email me at craig.harris@bhcbsa.org. Is that right? Craig.harris. All right, CRAIG. Anything else about Philmont?
No, other than it's a life-changing experience for both youth and the adults. And everybody should try to get an opportunity to go there. Correct. It's recovering nicely from last summer, or was it last summer or the summer before? Summer before, yes. Craig attempted to lead an expedition the summer before when they had the fires, and at the last minute they told him you couldn't come. So he took the same expedition to Alaska, and they seem to have enjoyed that too. Yes. Then one last thing is the 2021 is our next National Jamboree, and we are currently looking for adult volunteers to lead the 2 troops we're sending from the Verdugo Hills Council. And the troop will consist of 36 youth and 4 adult leaders on a 10-day to 24-day adventure, which we're still working out the details, but we are taking applications right now for adult leadership. And then in about 2 months, we'll start taking applications for the youth. And we'll have 1 male troop and 1 female troop. So if you're interested in going to Jamboree as an adult, there's very limited space. So go to our website and get yourself an application and send it on in. Again, it's another one of those experiences the youth will never forget, and I guarantee the adult leadership will never forget. And if our last Jamboree troop pictures for those here in the council are right up there on the wall. Every 4 years, we do the National Jamboree. So it's a great opportunity. And the reason it's also good for Cub Scouts, if your Scouts at Weeblos right now, he might be eligible to go. The age requirement is 12, and they have to be a first-class Scout. So if they're getting ready to transition into scouting right now, they might make it into this next one. All right.
Or you can plan down the road. So if your son or daughter is interested in scouting, and you can say, wait, there's more. There's lots of fun stuff. I was sitting on an Eagle Board of Review the other night, and the young man was 14 years old. And one of the panelists asked him, I know it's kind of quick, but this kid was exceptional. I mean, he really was. We were very impressed with him. But he asked the question at the end. We asked him the question, do you have any questions for us? And he said, now that I've got Eagle, I mean, what else is there for me to do? And one of the things we talked about are things like Jamboree, working on summer camp staff, Order of the Arrow. There's lots and lots of things in scouting. So the more you learn about scouting, the more you can dangle that fish and carrot out in front of your scouts. Lots of fun. 14's not, he was a crackerjack. He's one of the things he's doing now, he's on the National Youth Leadership Training staff. And this is another incremental step in his development. He will come out of this program just dynamite. He's already a neat kid. One thing about recharting I want to mention, because it's all about me. Everything's about me. I'm the training committee chair, and one of our challenges is to make sure that the people that are registered, the adults that are registered, are properly trained. And one of the challenges is we get people that are just helping out. I'm just going to drive. So I'll sign up as a committee member. Well, if you sign up as a committee member, we expect you to get trained as a committee member. And if you don't, then it looks bad against our numbers. There's another option, which is a scout or reserve at the unit level, which the only training it requires is the same training every leader requires, and that is youth protection training. You don't have to get any of the program training. So if you've got somebody who just wants to drive and you're pack policy or your troop policy is any adult that has contact with the youth have to be registered, then register them as a scout or reserve. If they're going to be helping out with a committee, for goodness sakes, please do that. One of the things that's not on the list is some upcoming training that we're doing for Cub Scout leaders. We stopped doing in-person Cub Scout leading training several years ago because nobody was coming because they put it all online, which is great. It makes it very convenient for people. There's a richness that comes from getting in the room with other people that are going down the same path as you. And we want to make sure that that opportunity still exists. So we offer something called training on the road. You put a half a dozen people in a room and we'll come and train you wherever you are. We have a pack that is negotiating with us about what day they are going to get their den leaders and troop committee members, pack committee members trained. Right now we're looking at September 29th in this room. So in the afternoon, I think it's going to be 1 to 5 in the afternoon. It takes just about 4 hours. If you are interested in that, we're going to open it up to the whole council once we nail that down, and we'll send information out on that. So if you're interested in getting in-person training, put that on your schedule, keep an eye on that email blast, and make sure you get registered so we get you up and going. The only two trainings that are not online are Introduction to Outdoor Leader Skills and the Baloo training. Both of those are very experiential when you have to go up to the camp to do those. Any questions about what I just talked about? It lets you opt out of all of the online training. It replaces the online training. So if you come and spend 4 hours with us, then you don't have to sit in front of that computer. Yes. Well, you get to, and I'll tell you, if you've already taken it online, you're not going to get second credit, but you'll get so much more out of it. One of the sad things for me is the decline of the number of people that were coming to in-person training, because the spark that comes from participating with other people like that is so important to helping you go through those long packed committee meetings and those days when you want to just throttle those little young children that are given to your care. And that enthusiasm and the connections that you make is so important. So please take that information back to your packs and consider coming. Anything else for announcements before we split off into our split sessions? And Maureen, we've got, how many people are going to go to the Cub Scout Leader split session? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And how many people are going to the unit commissioner? 1, 2. Are you going to go to the unit commissioner or the Cub Scout? Our district commissioner, who is over the unit commissioners. Unit commissioners are helpers, volunteers that help different Cub Scout BSA troops. Sorry. And our district commissioner, who recruits and trains those people, is going to Woodbadge. He's on his way up right now as we speak, driving 2 hours up to a camp up in the mountains for 3 days of lots of fun. And so he can't be here tonight. Are you going to run that meeting? He's running the meeting. Oh, okay. Where are you going then? You're going to the unit commissioner meeting? Unit meeting. Okay. So we're going to have the Cub Scout leaders go into the boardroom. Nice, cool boardroom. Just FYI, these facilities are available to you for running pack planning and committee meetings here. So if you want to go and reserve the boardroom, that's up available to you. So keep that in mind too. All right. And then who's going to stay here for Boy Scout Scouts BSA? No, you guys are doing the unit commissioner. Okay, great. All righty. Thank you very much. And are we ending the webcast now because we're done with the? Thank you very much. We're working on the technical aspects of this. We had some glitches tonight. And so next month, tune in and see all the costumes and the music that we come up with. This is Pierre signing out.